the amazing Women Speak podcast, inspiring and motivating every Black woman to own, honor, and execute her amazing, individually and collectively, as it was established at birth.
Good evening, and happy Sunday. And I'm Crystal L. Gunn, and welcome to another episode of Amazing Women Speak. And thank you for joining us. So while you are settling in for the show, please hit the share button and share Amazing Women Speak so your friends and followers can get in on this conversation. And remember, Amazing Women Speak is sponsored by the Amazing Women Network, which was created to unite and empower Black women globally, focusing on the core pillars of reclaiming and owning our personal power, mind, body, and spirit, reclaiming and owning our financial power, and increasing our social involvement. Visit us on the web at amazingwoman, WOMAN, network.com. Membership is now open, so please join us. So there comes a time and a moment in every Black woman's life when the whispers of her ancestors grow louder than the noise of her fears. A moment when hiding is no longer an option, and the only way forward is to own her amazing, unapologetically, fully, and boldly. So tonight we're stepping through that portal. This isn't just a conversation, it's a spiritual activation. So I hope you're ready. And so whatever platform you're joining us on, we want to bring you into this conversation. So please post your questions, your comments, your amen, right? Post them in the comments so that we can uplift them. And so Michele will not be with us tonight. She is out somewhere being amazing. So we're going to get right to our guests. Minzy, please come in and now introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. First off, I would like to say thank you, Crystal, for this wonderful opportunity. I'm just so excited. When you reached out to me, I had actually put this prayer on my prayer board to actually be on a podcast. So when I saw your message, I'm like, oh my God, you hear me. So I'm just excited to be on this amazing platform speaking about being amazing. God has been doing some amazing things in my life. I'm a 43-year-old stroke survivor. I had my stroke at 39 years old due to arteriovenous malformation. So I'm just excited to be able to tell my story. This month is actually Stroke Awareness Month. So just getting out, spreading the word of what the warning signs are. And I'm actually a health and wellness coach. The owner of Divine Juicing, where I actually create fresh pressed natural juice. So I'm also the author of Breathe Sis. This is just your chapter, not your whole story book. So I'm excited to be here with you on today.
Thank you. Well, welcome. I can't wait to dig in more to your story, especially the stroke survivor piece.
Thank you.
Rochelle, come on off mute and then join us. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Rochelle Robinson. Thank you for having me, Crystal. You not only asked before and I said no. And I mean, I'm glad to be here. I've never been on a podcast, and so I'm looking forward to what we're going to do here. I'm a sound practitioner at Bloom Transformation Center alongside Dr. Rose Moulton. I am a yoga instructor, a Reiki practitioner, a mom, all the things I love. I look forward to what we're going to talk about tonight.
Love it. One of the things that the world constantly tells Black women specifically, right, to stay in our place, to be grateful for, being in the room or a seat at the table, to be seen and not heard, all of these things that we're conditioned to be as Black women, and society telling us who we are and how we're supposed to do a thing. And years ago, going on some 18, 19 years ago, when I was going through my toughest time in life, and I asked God, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing, right? Like, this is not it. Use me as you see fit. But one of those things was unite and empower Black women globally, right? Under the pillars of owning, operating are amazing. And I think it was given to me at a time when I needed that most. And I literally laughed and was like, yeah, whatever. Like, my life is a wreck right now. What are you talking about? And someone said, Crystal, walk your journey and you'll be surprised at who you inspire. And no truer words have ever been spoken. And so I believe for each of us, there is a point in time where we don't really step into and own our amazing. So I want to start this conversation off with going back before we come to when you realized exactly how amazing you are and then started to own it. So, Minzy, let's talk about what life looked like before you realized and then started to own your amazing.
I would say for me, I was, before I owned my amazing, I was shy, didn't like to talk, really reserved to myself. And when I realized my amazing, I became more bold, outspoken, willing to speak from my heart, and really not caring what people thought of me or judge me as a certain person. I began to walk in my truth. And when I did find my amazing, I began to walk in purpose, unapologetically authentic, not trying to be like no one else. So I would say.
So why shy? Like, what was, you said you were shy. And so afterwards you started to walk in your purpose, but what was holding you back in the beginning?
I guess confidence. I wasn't really confident in myself and worried about what people thought.
Yeah. And how did that serve you?
Not well. Not well.
Rochelle, tell us about what life was like before you owned your amazing.
Life was lifing. Life was. I felt like sometimes you're walking down like this dirt road, and I just felt like I stumbled across one of those, like a brick that was just like, just stop and see what it is. I was waking up every day with like this pain in the back of the pain in my back and a tightness in my chest. Every day, and I was facing the window. My bed is facing the window, and every day, and I was just like, God, please show me me, show me how to, heal myself, and show me what I'm supposed to do. And then that's when I began to, like, move into, more prayer, listening to sound, listening to healing frequencies, the things that were bringing me bringing me that peace. And eventually, I realized that I was healing my nervous system. My nervous system was out of whack when I started on my journey to being more amazing.
So, okay. So when you asked and you said, okay, God, show me, help me, like, how instantaneous was the answer? Or how did the answer come?
The answer came by putting me to work. I'm, as a social worker, I'm a firm believer in whatever you do. Like, if you have a therapist, you have a consultant, a social worker, a counselor, always have them to put you to work. And I felt like, God is my counselor. God is always with me. Put me to work, Lord.
Yeah.
So I was up moving around, and I came across a saying that said, every successful people make their bed every day. It was by Oprah Winfrey. And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, this is something I have gotten away from. Like, I just was getting out the bed, not attending to myself, just getting up, hitting the ground running. And every day I just started making my bed. And maybe by the 10th day, I was like, again today, God. And when I heard that quiet, still yes, I just broke down crying, because I knew that it was just that fast that my prayers and supplications had been answered.
I often find it's the little things and it's one step at a time, right? It's just, it becomes those little things that we then also have to go back and add again, because sometimes we forget or we're going through another thing and it's like, let me add this other thing. It's how I found you um, and Bloom Transformation. It was like actually Renee, who was chiming in, told me to come and I came one day and now that promise to myself is every Sunday that I can, if you're
Yes.
open and I don't have another, engagement, then I'm there. And it was one of those things, even at this point in my life, was still life changing, right? Because my nervous system was being a wreck at this point because I was trying to be all things and do all things for everybody else, and what I thought I was supposed to do. So it's funny that you said to make the bed piece up. I just saw a clip of David Banner who was talking about when he was depressed and he called Method Man and he was like, uh, and he was telling Method Man his story. And Method Man said, yeah, I went through the same exact thing. He said, and I went to the gym every
Mhm.
single day. And he was like, that was the thing that got him out of it. He said, even when he didn't want to go, he still went to the gym. Even if he only did, one push up or just sat in the car until he went in. It's the things, it's the steps and going back and attending to yourself, as you
Mhm.
said, is really huge because we're also conditioned to take care of everybody else before we take care of
That's true.
ourselves.
That's true.
Um, Minzy, what's the promise that you keep to yourself every single day in order to keep moving and keep going?
I would say being intentional. I get up each morning and I meditate, and then I ask God, okay, what do you have me to do today? And then I journal those things down, and then I'm intentional about meeting those goals. My thing is, I like to challenge myself. Even today, I asked my husband, I said, you want to join this challenge with me? We're going to read through the book of Proverbs. So I would say just challenging myself, that gets me motivated, um, being intentional, walking in purpose, making sure that everything that I do is a purpose. I'm not just doing just to be doing. There's a purpose behind what I'm doing.
Intentionality is key. I think so many people are walking through life, and the moment that they decide to be intentional about what it is they want, how they want it, like everybody knows I come from a place of finance. I'm a financial healer and strategist, and I talk about the intentionality. But one thing that I always ask my clients, and I ask it in workshops too, but I always ask my personal coaching clients, how do you want to live the rest of your life from this day forward? And too often we get the I get the answer of, oh, I don't know, or I never
Mhm.
thought about that,
Mhm.
right? And the power that we have is so incredible that we get to design this thing. Rochelle, tell me how you've designed your life, and when did you realize that you could do that and then start living it the way that you want to live it and not what the world just throws at you?
By going after the things that were chasing me down, the things that were in my heart, like sound was something that, like was always in my heart, in my heart and my spirit as a child. It was, spoken over me. At first I said no. It's like everything else, like no. But someone said the same things to me that was spoken over to me as a child, when I was an adult. And at that point I quietly said yes, because I felt like that was, a God wink, like, hey, fast forward to when the opportunity began to present itself. It's like, what is everybody going to think? They're gonna think I'm weird. And then the yoga piece came on board. That's something I secretly always, admired and liked, but just the stigmas that came along with it. And then to fast forward, yoga chased me down. I go after yoga. It was like a fight. Like I quit. I quit. And then I was like, no, the Lord was like, go finish what you started.
Mhm.
And I finished, um, just going after the things that that don't look traditional to others, but they resonate with me, and that they have helped me to help others along their way, as long as, I mean, as well as helping myself, helping my daughter, just being whole at whatever it is that I set out to do.
From a freedom standpoint, how does that feel?
Good, really, really good. Because I can tell that it shows from the inside out. I don't have to announce anything. It speaks for itself. I don't have to, like put on, or the conversations come up and then it segues into this, what do you do? This is what I do. Or people, and end up being able to see it without ever saying it. So when you follow your inner compass, it always shows from the inside out.
It does. It does. And you attract all of the things and all of the people
Yes.
continue helping you on your journey. Minzy, when you stop chasing and start attracting, being intentional, how did it look different?
I would say it was not until I was in my deepest, darkest days, like in the valley, it's where I found my amazing. And that's when I began to heal and believe in myself and to find purpose. Um, it took me to have a stroke, to have brain surgery, to unable to walk, talk, vision impaired. Um, it took me to go through that to build the confidence that I needed um, where I am today. So by me going through that, I'm able to define my life. I'm now involved in, I guess I would say, involved in healing and helping people and letting them know, what the warning signs to look for from a stroke. I'm working with the American Heart Association. I'm now just finding myself working in purpose. I'm, more involved in my divine juicing business where I'm healing people through my juicing. Um, I'm on a nonprofit board that helps stroke families, stroke survivors, and stuff like that, caregivers. So I'm giving back to the community, and I find myself being more fulfilled walking in those things. So God led me to write this book, and through this book, it brings transformation, faith, and resilience. So I would say, we go through things in life to build that, I guess we go through things in life to know that there is strength behind, we might look at it as a bad outcome, but God has a purpose in everything that we go through. So I would say I'm just walking the purpose at this point, just being obedient, being intentional, and owning my amazing without being apologetic.
So let's go back, if we will. Pre-stroke. What led up to it? Because I'm sure anybody that's watching this now would say, wait, she had a stroke. And you said what, at 39?
Yes,
30.
been 3 years in November.
So what was life like? What led up to the stroke? Did they ever say what was the cause?
They did. So I was born with what's called an arteriovenous malformation, which I had the tangling in my veins, in my arteries in my neck. So it erupted. Because after years, they say sometimes you can live with it, sometimes you don't. But I didn't know I had this going on. I was born with this condition. And so it erupted and caused the blood on my brain. And I had to, it caused the stroke from the bleeding. So I had to undergo surgery to correct it. So I spent a month in a hospital and a year in physical, occupational, and speech. So that's what happened. So prior to my experience, I'm working for General Motors and customer support specialist in Lake Orion, and then I'm juicing on the side as a side business. and then I'm going to church. So I would say walking 3 miles every day. I was in healthy. I was eating healthy, doing everything I was supposed to do. So when this happened, it took me by surprise. So it just, like I said, I was more reserved, right? I would say now since the stroke, I'm more outgoing, willing to share my story, being bold. Um, but it was definitely, I didn't question God. I just was like, oh, hey, God, this happened. And I know the power within me has to get up. So
So this really is directed at both of you, and whoever wants to answer this can go forward. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for our greater good. That's my belief. Um, but also getting to where we are, owning, honoring, and executing our amazing, right? It takes work. We ain't wake up one day and be like, "Ooh, I'm amazing. I own it," right? We had to go through the work. And the work is hard. And most people don't want to do the work. They run from it. They run from their amazing. They hide, they shrink. When did you just decide I'm going to lean into this thing? Because the signs were there. You knew you needed to do the work. You were asking. We always still fight, right? Spirit is telling us one thing, we're going to fight and not be obedient. But when did you just totally surrender? What did that look like? Coming into the surrender and then coming out of the surrender, and how surrendering changed your life? Because I know it does. What did it look like?
I would say during my recovery, that's when I began to work on myself every day. I was do different things as far as memorizing because I couldn't remember certain things. So I would set out scriptures to read to empower myself. Affirmations, I would read them daily. I would get out because I couldn't walk. So I would go to the track and at least 30 days, I mean 30 minutes, I would try to build up that momentum. Um, I would do different things as far as gardening, surrounding myself around positive people, just reaching out, getting involved into a women group. I did yoga. Um, I got involved in Chantia, who invited me, who told me about your network.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved with her nonprofit. So I began to seek those different things to help me build myself back up, to make me stronger, to get back out into the workforce and stuff like that.
Did you ever ask and question, why me? Why did this happen to me?
I didn't.
Wow. Okay.
No,
That's
I didn't.
huge.
I didn't.
Rochelle?
To piggyback on that, like I was doing things to fortify my mind. It all starts in your mind, like watching the dialogue that I realizing that I didn't love myself. Like we walk around saying, "Oh, I love myself," like realizing like I really didn't love myself, and I felt like I was guided into a period of isolation, where I was, going back to the things that were instilled in me. Like my grandmother, rest her soul, she always talked to me about the Psalms, and reading the Psalms, reciting the Psalms over myself. I didn't believe in affirmations at first. It was just like, this not gonna work.
Mhm.
But the more you speak to your spirit, the more you speak to your body, like you realize your mind is changing. And again, like I said, listening like every night, playing healing frequencies and sound, allowing sound instruments to help me out. Journaling, like I journal like crazy. I write a lot. I probably need to write a book. I don't know. That's a whole nother sidebar.
Yeah.
Just really learning how to be intentional about myself, because I realized that when I was running away from my calling, it was making me be a mad black mama. like how was, like, because when you run from something, you avoid something, you find other distractions and other things to mask that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's showing up in everything that you do. You're mad at, you're mad about traffic, just mad about everything, quietly mad or out loud mad. The ride in the car was terrible. I was always fussing in the car, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I knew it was that I had to surrender to being, you know, my authentic self.
So you are truly this extremely peaceful light, Rochelle. You are just truly this light. Can you please tell us, for those on here who are listening that may not know, what is sound healing?
Thank you. I try to be peaceful. It's been a long, hard work. Sound healing is an ancient practice that dates back over 40,000 years ago, where I don't know, you probably can see my gong here.
Mhm.
My gong here. Some of my other instruments are at the center. I have other instruments, but you use instruments, or you can, like, sometimes I hum. I don't know if you notice that I hum after class or before class or
Mm-hmm.
around class. You use sound to regulate your nervous system because, like I always say, our body knows what it needs to heal. And a lot of times it's us that's in the way of our healing because we either don't think that we can heal, we've been told, or we've been, said a lot of things to ourselves that that has, held us back from healing. And basically the frequency emitted from the instruments speaks to the energy and the water that our bodies are comprised of. And just like you see ultrasounds in the hospital, that's the same concept as sound instruments. Is going in, busting up those stuck areas, moving your body along in a cyclical motion, bringing you back to your center. The more you do it, the better you feel.
Mm-hmm.
The more you do it, the better you feel, as long as you're open and receptive. That's with anything. You want a new job, you got to be receptive to a new job. You want more money, you got to be receptive, and calling in. So as long as you're open and receptive, your body knows what it needs. Some people, like today, I was working with a lady even after sound, and she talked about how her thumb was coming along. She had never talked about her thumb bothering her, how she jammed it up, but she was just expressing how her thumb has gotten better over the time. It happened maybe like in February. She hurt herself. And today I did a little Reiki, which is laying on her hands as I'm guided to move the energy through her hand. And she texted later and was saying how her hand felt even better. So it's just pretty much allowing the energy to move through your body.
And the reason why, part of the reason why I bring that up is so many practices and things have, I don't necessarily want to say been hidden from us, but we've been misdirected around it and don't do it. And um, was just having a conversation with my daughter um, about a conversation she was having with someone else and how they were talking about yoga and why they can't do yoga and all of the things. But all of the bullshit that comes and is thrown at Black women, right? I think we need to build our toolboxes
Yes.
of things that we need to do to help us heal.
Right.
Not only to help us heal in this life, but also I believe, right, that we are here in this life and we chose to be here because we are breaking up and stopping things that are not supposed to go to that next generation, right? Those
Yes.
generational traumas and all of that stuff that we have come into this life to say it stops with me. It's not going to it's not going to go to that next generation. And if we don't do it, we continue just that same cycle, right? um for me, sound is one of those things. Working out is one of those things. Journaling, meditating, just doing deep dives in spiritual work. For both of you, what are some other things that are in your toolbox outside of journaling and working out and those normal things that people do? What else is in your toolbox to help you get from A to Z on this spiritual healing journey that I think we're on until we're no longer here? I don't think it's a destination that we reach. I think we're on it as long as we're here. But what are some other things that Black women specifically, need in their toolbox?
I would say a prayer closet. I like to do puzzles, walking for me, podcasts, um, just a supportive women group that helps.
Yeah, I think that supportive women, there's always this myth and this thing that says that Black women can't get along,
Mm.
which I think again is that bullshit that we've been fed. Um, but having those like-minded individuals around you that's pouring life into you by the words that they say, I think it's important. It's part of the reason that the Amazing Woman Network is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those that will truly call you out when you need to be called out. I have a client, and she had kind of like gone MIA, right? And I knew what was going on with her, and I said she'll come back. She'll get it together in a minute. But one of the things that she said was, because when I asked her, well, what helped you get out of the thing that you were going through? And she said one of her girlfriends just came to the house and said, what's going on with you? And she says by the end of the by the evening, it was, five or six of them. They just kept coming, and it was the thing that pulled her out. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
important to have those women in your life, those that will pray for you, that will come knock on the door when something isn't right, but will hold you accountable for your own healing and um, your own self work that you need to do. Rochelle, what are some things we need in our toolbox?
The ability to self-reflect, going back to see, just how far you have come, because sometimes we can be so forward focused on our journey and, continuously collecting, the next best thing to add to our toolbox that we have, just like a purse. Did you even go through there and pull out those mints and throw them out? Did you get rid of those receipts that you already balanced?
Right.
So I'm a firm believer on, like reflection, putting your tools to use. Sometimes, when somebody cuts you off, quietly telling yourself, hey, I'm okay. Maybe they slow me down from, you may get up the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes and see that person that cut you off, kept you from, some type of tragedy or some type of, unnecessary situation. But, and gratitude. Gratitude is definitely, just I laugh and joke with you all the time, Crystal, but, like, just saying thank you, just every little thing, just thank you. If you lose something, the ability to say, you know what, just letting it go, and then it'll come back to you. And when it does, that quiet thank you, those answered prayers, thank you, the food on your table, thank you. Just having a level of gratitude is also a huge tool to be in the toolbox. And accountability, that's pretty much it.
Ooh, let's talk about that accountability one. Because we like to hold other people accountable, but holding ourselves accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's where the real work comes in. Holding yourself accountable
Yeah.
to you. You mentioned earlier, which I think was really, really important, the whole self-love thing, right? So we hear people talk about it. We hear it's being said all over the internet, social media. Oh, self-love, self-care, self-love, self-care. Um, And I'm a firm believer that, self-love, I think, is deeper than the oh, I went and bought this for myself. Oh, I went and did, oh, I did this. Talk to me about when you really realized um that you didn't love yourself, and one, how that felt, but then what is it that you did? Like, okay, how did it show up and you realize? And this, Rochelle, for you first, because you're the one that mentioned it, and just going back to that, because you'll hear people say and they'll defend it. I do love myself, but when you see everything that's going on in their life, not from a place of judgment, but it's like, but do you really? How did you recognize that you did not love yourself? And after realizing that journey to saying, okay, what do I need to do to truly love who I am?
I realized that I did not truly love myself from within. There's a difference. We can love ourselves on the surface, but I didn't love myself within. When I realized in 2019, I realized that I was just coming to the mirror, but not standing in the mirror. There's a difference. Like, we tend to get ready by default in the mirror, but to really stand in the mirror, and as much as people, like women, even my daughter, like, she talks about my shape and my build. Like, I realized I did not love my body back then. There was so much in that was coming up for review, and then I started practicing walking past the Carhartt store on Cass. They have this big window, and so I would look at myself in all of the windows. But at first, I could only get past the first window, and then it would be like I would have to look away, and I would practice standing in the mirror. And then eventually, I got some waist beads at the African World Festival. I got some waist beads in 2019, and then I just started to practice standing in the mirror, looking at myself, without my clothes on, saying things to myself. It started with 5 things, saying 5 good things to myself, allowing myself to cry in the mirror, and really realizing, like, dog, you didn't love yourself. Like, this whole aesthetic piece about self-love, that's cool. And I'm not dogging, because we all have to be on our path. But that is when I realized I didn't love myself. And so I just started working at it. Like I said, the affirmations, I already was doing affirmations, but really applying them. And because it takes practice, we didn't get like this overnight. Yeah, even now, today is the first day I'm on let's get real with it. Today is the first day I'm on a Zoom type of square. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you cute. But usually when I'm on these squares, I'm like, ugh.
She said, ugh.
But yeah, that's my story.
So because you went there, right? And I know we joke a lot, you and I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, it took a long time to answer about being on the podcast. You just even today, you were like, okay, well, how long I gotta be on there? Why? And what was the thing? I know some of it is just your nature of joking, but how much of that was like, I don't know that I really want to do this?
All of it. Like, all of it. Like, I don't necessarily, like, I'm the type of person, actions for me are louder than words. So, like, I don't really have to talk. I mean, you see how excited I am when it's like sound, and I don't have to like go through the spiel. It's like, yeah, let me work. Yeah, like, let me work.
That's how I was before my
Yeah.
stroke, real in the back. Just put me in the back. I don't want to be up front. But now I find myself to be more outspoken.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rochelle, you are always like,
Yeah, I
who
can
in here
relate.
had a sound bath before, so you don't have to go through the spiel. It's like,
Because that's more time that I can like work. And I mean, like, I'm learning to be in the forefront. It's okay.
Yeah.
But even in me being in the forefront or having to be in the forefront, I don't have to. It's not a humility thing. It's just that I don't have to. Like, I just know my strength is, like holding things up. That pillar, the bull.
So Minzy, you could have, after the stroke, did your own healing, right? Um, but instead you became a voice. Why was it important for you to become a voice for this?
My main thing was to, because God blessed me with another chance, I was adamant about bringing awareness, saving someone else's life, um, getting my story out there, because arts and malformation is a rare. It's one out of 100,000 people. So I'm like, more people need to know, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the warning signs of a stroke. So now I'm, more vocal about it. Like, hey, look, you have to take care of your body. You have to make sure you eat right. Get out and walk at least 30 minutes a day. Like, these are the things we need to do to survive. So that was my main objective, is to bring awareness to our African American culture.
So tell us about the book.
Okay. The book is about my story, what I went through during the stroke, before the stroke, after stroke, and what I learned in the valley. I learned 3 points were to how to trust God. Um, Second was how important people are in your life during your healing journey when you're down and you need that support system. And the third was that faith. He gave us the faith as small as the mustard seed. So it's up to us to activate that faith. And I truly believe that I remember laying in the hospital, and every scripture that could come to mind, I was quoting. Didn't know I knew that many scriptures, but the word does say to, heart his word in your heart, so that when trouble do come, you'll be able to pull out those words, those scriptures, and to find strength. So it was in my darkest time that I was able to find that resilience, that faith, and that power to get up from the situation that I was in, to be able to be that voice for others.
I absolutely commend you on that, because you could have, again, just decided, you know what, I'm going to walk my healing journey for me
Right.
and do that and not be that voice. Where can people get the book?
It's on Amazon under Breathe Sis. That's BREATHE, Sis, SIS, or you can search me by my name, Menzaria Boykins Esters. And it's also on my website, thrivingafterstroke.com.
I love that. I love it. Rochelle, why the give back to others? I mean, because what you do is definitely a gift. I know I appreciate it. It's changed my life on this journey. But why? Because you could have done what you had to do in order to fall in love with you and just left it there. But like I said, you're a light. Why? And why is it important to you to be that?
Every day when I get up, I say, God, get in my head before I do. And how can I serve? How
Mhm.
can I serve? And that was a practice too. Every day, just saying, how can I serve? And that's how it's been. Just, sometimes I see my friends and I'll just kind of touch them because I see where they need that touch, like on their back, or it's just in me. Like and I'm not healing you. I'm just activating your healing, for you to get on your path. But it just gives me great honor and pleasure to be able to pour into others only from my overflow. Only from my overflow. and it's a call. And like Menzie said, you can't run from your call forever. Call forever. Yeah, and I feel like every woman I come across in some shape, form, or fashion, I see you as a sister. Even if it's just that moment that we're in passing, is and which is how I'm rolling, in the process of rolling out Sister to My Soul, which is will be a women's program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to help women. So yeah, just being able to serve, just being able to serve, and knowing that when I come home and lay down, I've done my just due. I can put my cape away.
I come to find out that true wealth is finding and serving others.
Yes.
That's where you find that fulfillment.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And it will then pay you to do that thing, right?
Yes, yes.
Like it really is. And again, it goes back to that everything works for my greater good. And to be able to use your gifts and your talents to impact others, I mean, it's priceless. Like I there is no bigger joy to me.
Right.
There is no bigger joy in
I
order to
agree.
be able to do that in our lanes in which we are. And this was really, like, people have been chiming in, but this was really one of the things, and you said it, Rochelle, you're activating your healing. Like,
Hmm.
we have that ability to do that. And I love that Menzie talks about what we eat and what we put into our bodies, right? I'm a firm believer about what we eat, what we put into our bodies, but not only the food that we consume, but the words that we consume,
That's
what's
right.
on TV, the
Yes.
music that we consume, all
Hmm.
of that.
Plays a part.
And it's either healing us or harming us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we get to choose we get to choose which one it is. And for far too many, they choose the path of harming, um not even realizing that it's I don't think it's intentional, but a lot of times it's we run away from the shadow work. We run away from the things that are hard. We run away from looking at where we are, who we are, those traumas, those things that we need to heal. There's the story, and I've told it on the podcast a couple of times before over the last 4 seasons, where the guy walks out of his house and his neighbor is in the lawn, and you can tell that the neighbor was looking for something, right? So he said, okay, my neighbor's looking for something. He went on about his business, went away, running his errands for the day. He came back several hours later, and the lady was still out in the grass looking
Mhm.
for something. And he said, okay, wait, she's still out here. She's been out here all this time. Let me go see, can I help her? And he goes and he asks her, hey, did you lose something? And she was like, yeah, I lost my keys. And he said, okay, well, where's the last place that you think you had them? And she said, in the house. And he said, okay, well, why are you looking out here?
Right.
He said, because it's dark in there.
Mm.
Hmm.
Right. We don't want to go into those dark places often
That's true.
to heal our wounds. And so both of you going into those dark places to heal your wounds, then which allowed you to go out and heal others, is, I think, incredible and to be applauded.
That's so true because the first chapter of my book is I choose um, today I choose life. And a lot of times we don't choose to live. We don't choose to do that work like you were saying on ourselves. Um, and because I chose to believe in my healing, I chose to walk in my um, purpose, I am where I am today. I would say because I chose prior to my stroke to do the things necessary in case something was to happen, I don't take any medication. So God is a healer, and it was according to my faith that I truly believe I'm here today. They were saying like, "You're a miracle. You're not supposed to be here," and I'm like, "I know," But because I chose to take those things, like Rochelle was saying with the sound, I did all that. Listen to different YouTubes, trying to get my spirit man back to where it was. Because, like I said, I was in a dark place, but it's doing that inner work is where we find true healing.
It really is. And, it's not easy, but God, on the other side of that,
It's glory.
how can we get the juice?
Divinejuicing.com is my website.
So shipping, order, pickup, what are we doing? Because
Because now it's home based, so I do. You can pick up or I deliver, but I don't have a storefront at the moment.
okay. So you gave us the website, divinejuicing.com.
Juicing.com.
Yeah.
DIVINE juicing.
We have to practice and be really, really intentional with what we're putting in our body and what we're doing. And as Latrice said, ear gates, eye gates, guard them. Words have
Mhm.
power. The words you speak and the words spoken over you.
Yes,
And I always say that what God put on your tongue for others, He put on your tongue for you first.
that's right.
So when you're speaking down and negative about somebody, understand that you're speaking that over your life as
Mhm.
well. So it just makes sense to speak life into other people.
Amen.
And again, fastest hour of the day. Um, Rochelle, how can people reach you?
I am at Bloom Transformation Center on Sundays at 12, and Dr. Rose and I share Wednesdays at 7. But the bloomtransformationcenter.com is how you can book a session. Your first session is discounted as an introductory offer. And the location is 227 Iron Street. That's in downtown Detroit, right off of Mount Elliott Park, and it's Suite 122, the corner suite. You can see the sign there. That's where I do sound at. I put yoga on ice as far as offering it, on a day, but it's coming back because people keep calling me. You see that?
Do you travel?
Travel what for yoga?
Like to sound bath?
I
Or
do.
sound bowl? Okay.
I
Because
do.
I'm a part of a nonprofit where it's called Keys to Life. So we have a stroke support group.
Mhm.
So not this month, but what is this? May, June? I think either June or July. We looking for someone to come and teach our stroke survivors and caregivers sound bath.
Okay.
I'll stay in contact.
Yes, please. Yeah,
I
I've
love it.
traveled
I
to
love
do
it.
it.
I love it. I
Done
love
Costa Rica twice.
Oh wow,
Yeah. So,
nice.
and I do it at the schools.
Okay,
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I absolutely love that. I appreciate each of you rather, for sharing your story. It's not always easy, even though sometimes I push like I pull Rochelle on here.
Thank you,
Um,
Mary. I see you. Thank you for putting that in there.
yeah, Renee
Yes,
put Bloom
thank you,
Transformation Center
Latrice.
in the chat, and then Latrice put divinejuicing.com in the chat as well. Check
Mhm.
them out, support what they do. It's awesome. Again, I think anytime you decide to use what you went through in life in
Mhm.
order to help free and elevate and heal others, goes without saying. I think it's super, super, super awesome. Um, Thank you for your transparency, your honesty, going back and talking about those things. I think the more we talk about it, the more we heal ourselves,
That's right.
and we wind up getting to heal others as well, because someone else hears your story and says, I went through that.
Mhm.
And so now, because I see they came through on the other side, I can
Mhm.
continue my journey. I think it's really, really important who you have in your life and around you and who's speaking to you. So
That's
I
right.
appreciate again each and every one, each of you rather, in sharing your story and being so transparent with it. Thank you for everybody who tuned in today and who will watch this on the replay. And I want to say, as we close this season, I leave you with this charge and say it out loud, even if you're the only one in the room. I own my amazing. And when life tries to make you forget, come back to this moment, rewatch this episode, and explore the replays on the YouTube channel. Every conversation we've had is a guidepost to your journey, reminding you that your amazing isn't waiting to be found, it's waiting to be owned.
That's right.
Boldly, fiercely, and unapologetically. I am Crystal L. Gunn, and I own my amazing boldly, fearlessly, and unapologetically. Uh, Menzie, leave us with your last words, please.
I am Minzy, and I own my own amazing, unapologetically, boldly, and with confidence.
I love it. Anything else you want to add before we leave today, Menzie?
Just to walk in purpose on purpose, and to breathe, sis, because this is just a chapter, not your whole story.
I love that because it is just a chapter. Rochelle.
I own my amazing unapologetically, gracefully, gratefully, and the last words are love is the most attractive power in the universe. You draw through love everything you desire. So
That is such a true statement. That is such a true statement. Thank you again so much. For our listeners, thank you. We appreciate you for going through this ride. Y'all, this is the end of season 4. Oh my God, I cannot wait. Well, so I can wait, but you will see things over the summer. Again, go back and watch the episodes on the YouTube channel, Amazing Women Speak. Find the titles that speak to your soul. I promise you, you will find many. And then don't be a gatekeeper, sharing with other people. We are in a time right now where we're being forced to heal. We're being forced to level up. I think it's a wonderful thing, but I
Yeah.
also think that Black women will lead that specifically for our communities. Again, I lead with finances, but it's all about healing. And I believe Black women will be the leaders of that financial liberation movement that we will have in our community. So again, I thank both of you for being Black women who lead and Black women who heal our communities, the people around us, are better off because we are walking in our purpose.
Who knows?
So until next time, keep shining.
Yes.
And when you need a reminder, you know exactly where to find it. Have an amazing summer, everybody. And we will see you back at the beginning of October. Thank you so much. And you all
Thank
have a great night.
You too.
thank you, Crystal. Thank you, everybody who tuned
You
in.
too. Nice meeting you, Rochelle.
You too.